October is finally here. Yes. October, my favorite month, my favorite holiday or season, whatever you want to call it. I love October. Halloween is my absolute favorite. So, and we have a DVD or a Blu-ray, whatever the 4K releasing, which all that is still very new to me. I do not have a 4K player because I've not upgraded yet for that. I'm still, I guess floating around with the Blu-ray player. I did look into it myself, and 4K players are like they're expensive. But I'm gonna have to, bite it and actually end up getting one because a lot of these releases are just phenomenal. And now with the TVs are as affordable as they are. They're not like they used to be about like whatever, what would this have been 25 years ago or something like that where, I remember going to Costco, seeing these brand new flat screen TVs. And, I mean, if you wanted anything with like, anything 50 inch, 55s, 60, 70, forget it. You might as well be rolling deep. Thousands of dollars, thousands. It is pretty awesome now that we can literally go to Walmart and pick up one of the off brands, Hisense or whatever, and just drop a couple $100. Maybe, pretty much if you had $400 to $500, you can walk out of there with your own 75-inch, mega TV for, whatever. So anyhow, yeah, that is so cool that it has come to that and everything. So I think it's a pretty neat. I don't think, to me, I guess it's my opinion on it. I don't think the brand really matters anymore. I think the quality of the picture quality is just going to be really good across the board. And the only difference is when it breaks or craps out on you, which I had one. I had one for about, I would say 4 to 4 years or maybe a little bit longer, and it died on me. And guess what? Yeah, it was like $200. Okay. Is it a big loss? No. It was better than that was $2,000. I can tell you that much. So anyway, welcome to the show, Saturday morning show. Everybody's tuned in. I do appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and read your comments. Again, we go through everything pretty early on during the week to get everything wrapped up so that the show can air. So if your comment wasn't read, there could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe you comment after production of the show. So anyway, here we go. We have, in no particular order, Lion Quest Fitness. Awesome channel over there. Does a lot of great work with revolvers and shooting stuff and everything. So if you are into that, definitely check out Lion Quest Fitness. Greg is an awesome guy over there. Does a lot of good videos, a lot of good information. I think that got to remember what the amount of work, the amount of just to collect all that information and try to get it out into a video. It's very difficult. It really is. It is, unlike the program like we do here, where we just kind of really just let it fly and just talk about random subjects. Really, sometimes comments dictate where what direction we're going. We're literally what we do here. This like talk show that we do every Saturday morning. It's a windy road. It could go anywhere. Where versus if you got somebody like Greg over there, where they're focused on a detailed subject, it's really hard to do. A lot of big support goes to that. It takes a lot of patience, diligence, and a lot of legwork to put something like that together. So does some awesome work over there. All right. Jeffrey Richardson, yes, appreciate you staying positive. That is a big one. Positivity, man. Why, I think it's so like crazy how you get some people that just like their whole life, it's like, I don't know, they just run through life with a negative like goal or something. It's like, I am just here to complain about something, or I'm going to go to this store and hassle an individual that works there. It's like or something along those lines. Or I'm just gonna be set out every day to do something like that. I don't know. Misery loves company. Who knows? So anyway, Mike here. Mike says, "Good morning, JW. I may have mentioned my Jamamata Kimber Warrior 1911 45 ACP. Wow, that's unfortunate to hear. I do recall you mentioning that before. I used to have a Kimber Warrior many moons ago. Mine, um, I think the only thing that mine was an issue with when I first got it was the slide stop was not done correctly, where it would lock the slide back with rounds still in the magazine. Kimber sent me a replacement part, and they fixed the issue right away. Never had another issue after that. In fact, I did a crazy video where it started downpouring rain, and we done some horrible things to that 1911. Anyway, it's been to the Kimber factory twice, but they couldn't fix their own junk. I took it to my local gunsmith. He polished the ramp, relieved the inside grip of the extractor. Now it feeds empty brass. I'm still in disbelief, but very grateful. Best wishes to all from Montana. That is Mike over there. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, that always surprises me how a company will put out something and they can't even make it right with you, or can't even, it's like I've always kind of felt like, yeah, they should, especially when you got stuff that's costing what they cost, especially that. Not saying that any amount of money spent, should be definitely taken care of, but when you're juicing people for $1,000 plus and stuff like that, and that Kimber Warrior is no cheap 1911, um, things should be taken care of. So anyway, I've unfortunately been out of that game for quite some time, so I'm not too familiar anymore with what's going on. That's why I always ask my buddy over there, my fellow brother, Crazy Scotsman, because he's still in the biz and he still is up to date with everything, up to speed, very knowledgeable. So big thumbs up to him and everything he does for the community here, and definitely in the trenches of the business, and definitely keeping it going there. More power to him. I myself have opted out of it. So, all right. Slim Fire, my man Slim. Morning, JW. Thank you for the nice comment this morning. And I have to say that my Saturday would not be the same without listening to your talk show. So thank you for entertaining us. Great looking revolver, and I use the same products on my firearms also. Thanks again, Slim. Well, we thank you for the kind comments about the show. We have a lot of people that really like and enjoy the show. It's why we do it. Do appreciate that. Your comments is very appreciated. Anybody that at least tunes in and listens to our program here and keeps the view counts up on the show, it really helps. It helps the channel. Not trying to pander for views or thumbs up or anything like that, but it certainly helps this channel grow and keeps it afloat. We certainly do not make a whole lot of coinage off of it, but what we do make really makes a difference. And your views help with that. So thank you. Thank every single one of you that is even still here right now listening to this. All right, my man Joe, swig of coffee for Joe. Good morning, JW. I also own a 29-10, and it is my favorite firearm because, like you, I love Dirty Harry. Yes. I mean, for me, the movies have just absolutely. It's so much. It's like 95% of the reason why I'm so interested in so many of these things. The Model 29 is the prime example of that. That movie, Dirty Harry, made me want that revolver so bad, and I'm glad I got it. It is one of those things because I mean, aside from it, if you remove the movie factor out of that, I don't think I'd own it. Honestly, it's such a massive cannon. But on the I guess the practical, or if you were to take it to the range, I don't go to the range much anymore. I don't really have the drive to it. it's kind of a cool, versatile revolver to have. If I had a choice, and you guys know, I'm really pretty been outspoken about the new Colt revolvers. I really like them. I'm a huge fan of them. If I was going to choose between the 29 and the new Anaconda, that's right, the new Anaconda, not the old one. I wouldn't want one of those. Um, uh, I take the 29 because it is sleek. It is just slimmer lined, if that can even be said about an end frame Smith. But as I get older, I find myself taking my 6-inch 586 to the range more often than the 29. I can relate to that because I favor my new Python. And the Python is the same, basically the same frame size and the same size as your 586 6-inch, because that's the one I got is a 6-inch Python. Aside from that nice piece of shine that we brought out last week. To the range more often than 29. I have vintage grips on both, so they look very similar. But the L frame just seems smaller and easier to manipulate. It is. It's only 1 ounce lighter, but it has smaller dimensions, and of course shoots 38 or 357. Another versatile thing. I really do like that. I've been enjoying that a lot more than actually 44 or 44 Special, that whole jazz. Which are both easier on aging hands than 44 Magnum. Yes. I have, over the years, both in shooting and in my years of being a carpenter's aide, or assisting in framing jobs and all that in my younger years, a lot of those old carpenters that I hung around with, their elbows and stuff messed up constantly. Their knees are shot, their backs are shot. Mostly their elbows and their wrists from wielding framing hammers. Hence, that's why, if you guys caught last week's show, we talked about my new framing hammer I bought because thanks to a good buddy of mine back home that introduced me to one, and I always thought that was really cool. Always kept it in the inventory. Now when I needed one, guess what? That's what I went to. It's a titanium lightweight one. Check last week's show. Check the link in the description called Don't Pull Nails at That. It's a really cool story from the island about friendship, about me and my buddy, and that hammer. So if you enjoy that kind of additional weird talk stuff like that, check out that. It has been an ongoing second channel of mine. I haven't really spoke about it too much because it really is, it's entirely different than what we do here. It's more geared towards some other stuff, random stuff. It is the Stranger Oddity Show. All right. Jeffrey Richardson, Sip of Coffee. Great show, beautiful snubby. Yes, that one is definitely, like I said, I even though I don't shoot it all the time, but I do. I have no problems taking that out, putting rounds through it, but it's just really cool to have. It's super smooth. It's like it just, when you handle it, work the action, you just know it's super quality. So, Sean Lee, morning, y'all. I've always enjoyed all that is shared on the channel. Keep up the good work. We will. Thank you, Sean. We really appreciate that, definitely. And we enjoy sharing all the information, stories, people's choices, opinions, and all that. Like, it's a cool, fun little community that we do here every Saturday morning. This one here is from Keith. Yep, still here, and I'm glad to hear that, Keith. Great video. Thanks for bringing this to the table. Yeah, and we got some other stuff on the table here. Something I don't think you've seen. I'm not sure. I can't remember if we brought it out once, talked about it, but I got a hold of it again to kind of talk about it because of this. All right, Cap, my man Cap here. Good to see that beautiful Python again. Look forward to seeing you add the blued version. Rest in peace, Mr. Holster. We miss him. Yeah, Mr. Holster, great inspiration for doing this kind of thing too, because Mr. Holster used to have a thing called the Sock Show, and man, he was the king of it. I don't, you know what, that you couldn't top what he did. He was just like, he really, he nailed it, man. Mr. Holster was awesome. Miss him dearly. I was one dude that was just a gem. He really was everything. His personality, he was just awesome. I hope Mrs. Holster is doing good. All right, Crazy Scotsman. So as far as hearing anything, I have not yet. A lot of times, I have not yet. He's talking about. We were asking about the blued snubby python. Okay. A lot of times release dates get pushed back for various reasons. Lipsys keeps growing the number of Smith line exclusives that do not have the key lock, which is good. As far as grips go, the bigger the better for me. I have large hands and always struggle with thin grips. I don't like thin grips either. I mean, it's just knife edges my palm, especially if you're shooting 357 Magnum or something. I just switched out the VZ grips that came on the Springfield 1911. Way too thin. Snubbies are great, but you definitely have to put the time in. He has a Model 60 apparently with a little 1 7/8 inch barrel. That is a beast with magnums, I'll bet, man. But it's still fun for me. You're a recoil junkie, okay? I am not. I actually grown to dislike it, really. I guess I don't know. I used to like a shotgun. I was just enamored with a shotgun way back, and that's all I ever wanted to shoot. I just that was my thing. Now I can't stand them. I can't stand to shoot them. In fact, I think I got rid of most of everything. Warren Ness, I really appreciate you guys out there. You guys are great. Hi, Bat Jack, and thank you for the kind words. It is much appreciated. You are very welcome. You guys are awesome out there. I'm so glad you guys listen to the show. Everything has been going well here. I finally got my AK Volume 2 book by Larry Vickers. Oh, that's cool. I've got the 1911 book, the 2 Volume 1 by the Vickers tactical thing. I think that book is just so cool. I mean, if you seriously want eye candy for 1911s, that book was. I missed the first releasing of it, so when the second one he dropped out there, I was like, I'm for it. I want to get it because of just the content in it, just the photographs and all the really cool visuals, super crisp, clean photos of it, of all kinds of historical stuff, not just the old military stuff and some of the commercial stuff, but what I found most fascinating was as the early custom work was going on. That's what I really like seeing. Take care, my friend. Have a great week. We will. All right. Appreciate that. Led 8541, my buddy Led over there, always doing some really cool knife videos. I saw that recent video of his where he showed a silver handled or scaled pocket knife. I forget exactly what it's called. I have one that was from my friend. It's similar to that. Similar style, not silver handled, but that was really cool with all that heavy duty, character stuff all over it. Really cool stuff. Anyway, he's been showing off a lot of that stuff, and I want to thank Led greatly because he recently also did a video on the wood rot that he was fixing. That was really perfect timing because I've been actually doing that myself. Doing stuff. So it was always cool to see other people do it, see what their information is on it, how they handle it, and everything like that. So it also gives light where, if you're not as versed in that field, like I said, I spent most of my years as an assistant or an aide or a helper in that stuff. Like I could do a lot of the stuff that doesn't require, if you screw it up, it's, oh, well, send me to do it. But it's really cool to see, in shed light in that area where it's like, oh my God, like what do I do? There is fixes. You can do it. I'm very glad that I worked those jobs because I was able to be a little bit more knowledgeable. I'm like, I can fix that. So that's a cool thing. So Saturday morning with Bat Jack and a cup of black coffee. It don't get much better. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have a great rest of your weekend, and you as well, Led. DB, top of the morning, and top of the morning to you. LV Bibby says, good stuff as usual. Glad you enjoyed the prior comment. Thanks for the standalone Trooper Mark III video as well. The 2-inch Python is sweet. Hope the blue one comes out. But now Colt's website is listing a matte stainless and matte blue Pythons. Interesting. If any of the non-stainless 2.5. He hit the will be wild will be well. Hit the wild. Oh, okay, I got it. Hit the wild well be well. I hope so. I did. You know what? Because of your comment, I went on their website and checked it out too. I saw that they have matte blued pythons. Not sure what I think about that because I'm not. To me, when I was knee deep in the biz, I always heard about the python was very revered. It was known for its polished finish, all that craftsmanship. Not saying that matte or sandblasted, parkerized, whatever, finished stuff doesn't have their place because they do. But I'm not sure if the python that's its place. I always felt like the python was always looked at as this work of art. But then again, it's a workhorse now. I mean, the way they revamped it, so it's made to go out there. Maybe some people are totally opposite. Maybe that's why they don't want it. It's too shiny. So now with the matte or bead blasted finishes they're offering, somebody is more intrigued to it. So am I glad that they're offering all these finishes? Yeah. I just hope, my fear, I don't want them to get they got their hands in so many pots that they can't control it. They can't control the demand and the supply. That's what I hope. I also hope that I don't accidentally, because I'm actually on a wait list myself, to see if it ever comes out. I hope that it doesn't end up being like the matte one, because I don't want that one. That's just me. I don't want that one. I want the polished blued one. That's the one I want. I am really not much into buying anything these days at all. But that would be something I would definitely scratch an interest in. I would say, I might want to do that. It depends on the finances at the moment because it is not cheap. Those things are not cheap. They're expensive. They're very expensive. So it's got to be, it's one of those things. And for me, it's like kind of like, and I've talked about this. I got into the business, and then I was always hearing about the pythons, and then of course, for the longest time, any of those short ones, and just python in general. If somebody had one, it's almost like a prestige because they cost so much. Not everybody had one, but I think it's awesome now that they're out there. They're done beautifully. They're done strong. They did it right, and anybody can go get one. So that's what's awesome about it. And now that, these certain ones like these snubbies and these, like 3-inch barreled ones and everything that was once super hard to find or get or afford are now available. So I'm hoping that that's what's going on. I did notice that the 5 and the 3 are now on the allocation list. So people are getting them. And another way to check these things is to go onto those sites, the broker or the international, and check them out and see what's being listed. Go to the newest listings. If you start seeing them listed, then you know that people are getting them. And it's usually these dealers that are getting them, and then they're putting them online, hopefully not scalping people. All right, Bohemian Hunting Club, good morning. H110, yeah, that's a good morning to you. I don't know if you're talking about the powder or the buck knife. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. That is all the comments there. I'm going to actually put this down because we have something here pretty large that we got a hold of for the video purposes here. Recently, this re-releasing came out. I talked about this on my other channel. Night of the Living Dead, the remake, 1990, directed by Tom Savini, produced by Savini and George Romero, the late, great George Romero. You could almost say he's the godfather of zombie movies, although I don't think he liked calling them zombie movies or zombies. The 1990 version was just the remake, which anytime you hear remake, it's like, oh, that's not going to be good. This is one of the few that is awesome. This movie is awesome good. It took a really awesome story. It took and just enhanced it by great. Because Savini I think he had the approach to make it right. He wanted the characters to look about as the same as they could compared to the original 68 black and white. And the story, he didn't really deviate the story. He did one extra sweetener, which I think was awesome, which he took the character of Barbara, in this case played by Patricia Tallman, and made her just a stronger character and going, head on with them. And that made it awesome. That it really did. Late great Tony Todd is the first horror movie I think he did. After that, obviously went on to do Candyman and everything. Unfortunately, we lost Tony Todd, one of the horror greats. It's so sad when for me, because I grew up with all this stuff. When we start losing these icons, all these guys, Tony Todd, we still have a lot of them out there, but we're losing them, and it sucks. But anyway, they re-released this, and when I heard about it, what piqued my interest right away was it was uncensored for the first time. I've heard that they cut a lot of stuff out of this, but when we finally saw it, for those of you like me that saw it on Joe Bob Briggs' Monster Vision back in the day on TV, you saw a version of it too. It always did seem to me watered down, and even with this uncut version, like I really don't like. You'll watch it and you're just like, I know by today's standards, it's like really like a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie from 1964 was gorier than this. But anyway, I heard this was coming out. I actually was on the search for it, but I never really could. I couldn't find it, and then I stumbled across it on Amazon just randomly. I was like, oh, there it is. Oh, pre-order. Yeah, why the hell not? I'll pre-order it. And accidentally did that. Really, I just said, oh, what the hell? I'll pre-order it. I never pre-order anything. I'm always, I'm the late to the party guy. I find out about it like a week later. I'm like, oh, really? That happened? Now how do I get some of that pie that they're serving out there? Man, that's been ate up long ago. That's me. So as it turns out, thanks to another channel that I watched on this and informed me, Pizzelle, I had no idea this thing was limited release. That's crazy. Now you see this thing, it's on Amazon or eBay and stuff, getting scalped for like stupid money. Because really, what are you paying for? I have a Blu-ray version of it already. Really, you're paying for that extra, literally, I don't know, maybe a total of 60 seconds of, not even that, of extra cut material. And really, the only thing, two of the major things that I can think of would be the Uncle. If you haven't seen the movie, the Uncle Reed zombie, when Barbara hits him with the poker, the fireplace poker, it gets stuck in his head, and she kind of ranks it out. Pretty decent scene, but it does look like an added, like it almost looks like something that was like, I don't know. Even that scene doesn't really fit because it kind of looks like they just added it. They were just kind of goofing around. They said, "Here, film this real quick." Okay, yeah, I mean, I could see why it ended up on the cutting room floor to begin with. Maybe not necessarily because it was just gory. The other things that were cut out that this restored were all the exit wounds. Basically, it almost just looks like colored water flying in the air from exit wounds, which really was like, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it just looks like somebody threw a cup of somebody took a cup of water, threw a little bit of like food coloring in it, threw it in the air or something like that. So the only other one that's really major was the zombie head coming apart from the back of the pickup truck when the character of Tom shoots it with the shotgun. That would have been the only one that I would have said, yeah, that was really cool. That would have been definitely good. I would have actually more liked to see more dialogue. This movie could have been a lot longer, more detailed. But I think, as Tom Savini explains in it, the reason why he was so frustrated was he did have the intention of making this thing a lot bigger, a lot more heavier and detailed, but they just wouldn't allow it. Time constraints. He had hardly any time to do it. He just kept getting cut off at the hands every time he reached forward. So it sucks. It would have been awesome to see what, if he was given time and more money, what it could have been. But without a question, cool movie. One of my favorites, definitely. In this movie, there's a rifle that's used. I always saw it when I was younger and always loved that rifle. I'm going to actually move my coffee because this is why we actually don't usually feature rifles here. in this movie, I remember them loading these rounds in the top of the what looked like to me the top of the barrel. I always thought, what the heck kind of rifle is that? Obviously, knew nothing about it later on. So we got for our viewing pleasure because I could not, I would not buy one of these. They're too expensive. But we got a hold of one, and what it is it's a Henry. It's a Henry 1860. I want to be very careful with this thing because I don't want to scratch it. I have to pay for it. Anyway, Henry 1860. Really cool. This thing is heavy. It weighs a ton. Brass receiver, and the wood is really beautiful. This one is the actual Henry model. There is two, to my understanding. Uberti makes one, and this is the Henry one. This one happens to be the Henry one. What are these spots? Okay, yeah, and it loads exactly like this. You bring the tab up. Again, this is kind of why we don't show too many of the. And the barrel tilts, so the tab goes up, and the barrel tilts out of the way, and you drop the rounds in there, and that's what I saw them doing in the film. So it's really cool. And then I did hear that, but you don't want to have that tab slam down either, especially if you only got a couple rounds in there. You don't want to have that tab just come slamming, crashing in there, because if you think about the concept too, and also the history of this thing, when these things were first come out, they were rimfire, so it rounds to primers was not really a thing. But now when we have obviously modern cartridges like this one, or not so modern cartridges, because this one here is chambered at 4440, which is an old cartridge, but we got primer cartridges. You definitely probably don't want a round nose to the primer back, especially if you're loading softer primers like Federal or something like that. Might not be the greatest idea to have this big metal anvil, if you will, come crashing down into it, stacking and causing that kind of a shock wave through the whole lineup, because you might want to you might detonate the entire tube. So there are things like that you want to keep in mind of. So, but we had this thing available to us, so we wanted to bring it out because of the releasing and everything like that. But always felt that was the coolest thing. It does have the sling, I believe. I think that's the sling point, or I thought it was. I don't know. I've been messed with this thing a whole lot. Maybe that is not. I'm not sure. Somehow in the movie they have a sling attached to theirs. I don't see how they did it. They might have just honestly just screwed it together or something like that. So doesn't seem to be a point where you can put a sling on it. But it's quite a barrel. It's quite heavy. One of the things that costs so much to make these things, to my understanding, well, not I mean aside from the big block of brass right here, the barrel I hear is done as one piece. So this underneath, including the barrel, is all machined out of one piece. That is to my understanding on how it works or how it is made. So again, these things are pretty darn expensive. Awesome rifle, but in that aspect of it, it is pricey. But anyway, still super cool to have it out here and be able to kind of show it off. But again, you can see how awkward it is. This is the reason why we mostly stick with handguns anyway. But it was cool because I was like, oh, talk about that. I know how to get a hold of one of these for the video and everything like that. So check it out. So I do appreciate everybody hanging out. If anybody's even still here hanging out, we'll catch you next time. Have a good weekend. We'll see you. Damn broken Stanley hot glue gun. All right, those of you that are still here watching this channel, we got the Rooster shooter out here. I'm trying to undo this rubber band without breaking it because this is the last one I've got to do this with. All right, take that off. What I'm showing you is how to attach the two-piece grips if your frame doesn't have the stud. This one used to. It got removed because at the time I was putting Buffalo Brothers grips on it, and obviously I didn't want to drill and do all that mess with that, trying to drill where the stud is. Um, this right here, before we get into these, is the original grips that came on this, the Rooster Shooter. That's what they were. I'm not even sure how well the lighting is in here and how well that shows up, but pretty much that's what they are. And those were made by a company called Barnaby. We're going to get into that a little bit while we wait for the glue to dry, because I want to show you how to. This is a set I made. All right, I've made these basically as a copy of those. And to attach it, to basically replace that stud to make sure it stays in place here, you put the grip on like that. I could have done a better job of fitting these, but I'm an impatient person. So I put it on there, and I basically take a rubber band, what's left of one in this case, and put it, well, I spoke too soon, right? The rubber band broke. Literally, we're doing this in real time. This is nothing, go ahead and tie this off again. Okay, let's see this. You can use masking tape or whatever. All it needs to do is really just hold it in place. I've greased the inside of the frame here. You can see some wax here I got. Grease the inside of the frame. Take this broken hot glue gun in this case, and I'm going to put some hot glue right in the corner here. You don't need a terrible lot of it. Just enough to kind of put a corner piece here in there. And like I said, while we're waiting for that to set up, I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing. This is what you're trying to do right here, which is basically adhere a small corner doing this. Kind of got this idea from my buddy. I carry one because he told me about people epoxying like a button on the corner, but basically doing the same operation and putting a button there, like just going and getting a little bag of buttons you can probably get at a Goodwill or something, and epoxying it there. I kind of came up with a more of a lazier way than that, which is just adding basically a wad of hot glue there. You can take a razor blade and trim this down a little bit. You can see it's kind of protruding a little high, but anyway, also, if it comes off or whatever, it's no big deal. You just put another one. Just make sure you degrease this really good if you're going to use the hot glue method. And also, I feel that the hot glue acts as a hard rubber and almost kind of, absorbs some shock. So a little bit about the original grips. These original here are the original ones that I have that are on my Rooster Shooter, came from Bar S grips. When I broke mine, and I did break them. I dropped this gun not even 24 hours of owning it. I should be ashamed of myself, but what a strange and happy accident, because actually you can see it broke right here. This whole corner shattered out. I was able to actually, under the stress that I was under at the time, put it back together with some super glue and actually managed to put that back together pretty good. I've kept these pretty safe and tried to always take care of them because what's left of them. Definitely did not put them back on the gun and try to mess with them there. But, however, I did start to learn how to reproduce them over the years, and done so by, this set obviously have been as a reproduction of that. I did know, so mine are made by Bar S, and mine are kind of, it's weird because they were listed as orange finger grooved, and if you actually look at it, I don't know, the lighting in here doesn't really do it justice, but if you actually have them in your hands, the side with the finger grooves, which are actually kind of wrong for the John Wayne, type style, if that's what these are replicating, because it's weird because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, which is like, you're not really doing this because, and even my small hand, that's really weird. Because it would be technically that. So the finger grooves are kind of wrong on this one, but that's what's on it. But for some reason, that side is a little bit darker, a little bit more of an orange, darker than this side. So I've always kind of liked that, actually, even though it's probably, I don't know if it's a mistake or when they were making them in separate batches, but that's what happened there. So I liked it so much that when I started doing mine, I kind of just darkened my one side up a little bit more and made it kind of more of an orange color. These things kind of almost look like a, I don't know, like a Werther's candy color. So all right, that's good enough there. All right, so taking that off, and obviously with the wax, pop, it just comes right out. So there, now I got that, and then you can basically now put both sides on. Right there and right there, and see if that, okay, so I do need to trim it a little bit. You can see what's happening there. It needs to be trimmed down a little bit, but anyway, you get the picture. That's kind of what it's going to do. That's going to what it's going to look like. And the screw, the escutcheon here, I go to the hardware store and I pick, these are literally 23 cents and 35 cents. I think the screw itself is 35 cents, and the other the screw-in part here is 23 cents, and that's what I have embedded here. Actually, if you look at what they kind of did originally, that is kind of what they did. They had basically a brass piece here. So these are just brass machine screws that I picked up at the hardware store, because when you go to buy a set like this from Brownells or whatever, not saying, not knocking their product, but it's quite expensive. So I take this and I clamp this in my vise, and I just take a file and I break these corners off. And I don't make it perfectly round. I just break them off to kind of make it a little bit more diameter-wise, drop it down in size. However, drilling these holes, there is a bit that you can buy. I bought that. I think it is called like literally a single action army grip screw bit that you can buy. I think Brownells has it, or one of those sites. Gotta have it. It makes the whole operation a lot easier. Drill it, countersink it. It countersinks basically the hole down in there, and then I just press fit it. I used to glue them in. I stopped doing that. Mainly, I just trying to eliminate a lot of process and doing it because I'm very impatient. So I just start press fitting these. I literally take this thing, put it on an anvil or a hard surface, and I take a brass rod and I just press hard fit it. Basically, just tap it down in there. Taps it down. Whatever imperfections left on this will grip it, and it'll actually hold through. And then on the other side, I don't even put anything there. I just let the screw basically, I let the whatever meat is left on the grip there to kind of hold the screw in there. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this kind of a section of the show. If you guys even made it this far, I figured I'd add this little bonus here. Maybe we'll start doing stuff like this as an added bonus to anybody that's actually still watching these things. But yeah, there it is. And this is the infamous rooster shooter that I had that we rust blued it at my friend Cody's house, if you guys remember that. My buddy Cody was a plumber. I think he still is a plumber. Yeah, we sat there outside his house, and this is back in the islands, and basically rust blew this with the chemical. And it just, really no haphazardly did it. Just sloppy work, but this is what it came out to. And you know what? This gun is not rusted since. So pretty cool.